Look here at these tiny little flowers. They resemble daisies, but I know they're not daisies because daisies were bigger and we would pick off the petals when we were young. We would say, as we picked off each petal, "He loves me, he loves me not. He loves me, he loves me not." And then, when we only had one more petal, that would be the decisive petal. Did he love me or not? So I think it's really amazing how I'm out for a walk right now, and something this simple you're seeing here is really a sign of how much you are affected, of how you spent your childhood. Now, I spent my childhood outside most of the time. That was the typical way that, well, let's say folks in my time were raised. You were told to go outside and play. Someone has a YouTube video about that. I forget her name, but she's always talking about getting told to leave the house the minute she woke up. So I'm going to switch this over to the other view, which would be me. Hold on now. I can combine these two. Yes, I'm out for a walk now. So I just passed on my street this little patch of, they're not daisies, but they resembled it. And it made me a little bit sad because what's happening now is there's no time for children to leave their, I guess you'd say phone, their handhelds, whatever, whether it be a video game on a tablet or it's all not natural anymore. So the children, no matter how old they are, they could be babies 1 year old. I see them 6 months old being handed tablets. And they literally are in a little basket so that they're strapped in. They can't move, and they're handed electrical gadgets. To keep them busy is what it's called. Now, for me, my childhood was idyllic. Even though I was told to go out, I was in a very safe neighborhood, and I love to explore. So for me, it was a pleasure to be told to go outside and play, because I would always stop at all of the gardens and rose bushes, lilac trees. I mean, my home that I grew up in was, you can say, I don't know how to describe it. It was pristinely beautiful and in a beautiful neighborhood, and that's how I spent my time. So I would walk out the back door. That's another odd thing, though. We never use the front door. And in Islam, you're supposed to use your front door. But we had a back little porch with the back door that came in from what's called the backyard, where we would always be. And then that would let us enter the kitchen. And that was more or less, I guess it was the norm back then, because the front door was for guests. And in order to enter our front door, you had to climb up by, I guess it was 5, 10, 15, 20 steps to enter the front door. It's another story. These are my walking memories down memory lane. And I was happy to find those little pseudo daisies, even though they're not, because it made me remember my happy childhood, which was really, you could say, idyllic. I used to go in the woods and pretend I was an Indian, and then I'd go over the golf course, which was almost across the street from where we lived, and I'd slide down in either my sled or my toboggan or my flying saucer. It was a round red plastic thing that you'd sit in and hold on to these edges with your two hands. They were made out of, I guess, some sort of synthetic. They looked like little ropes. And then you go to the top of the hill, and you would literally fly down. That's why they call them flying saucers. And they would spin around with you until you fell off. How many times did we fall off things and never get hurt? No broken bones. It was a miracle, and that's how I always believed in angels, because I went to nun school. So they always taught us about guardian angels. And we believed in them. Why wouldn't we? Because of the way we lived. Oh, go away, dog. I don't like dogs on my street. I don't know why you're here. Because often, we don't have dogs in this neighborhood, so I can't blame them. They get happy. They're seeing something new and different. They're loving it. But I may just go inside. It's so hot now, though, in Florida. When you want to go for a walk, you have to challenge yourself to say, it's beautiful out here. It really is. But you have to say, don't be a wimp. Okay, it's 90. You have to wear long sleeves, long clothes, lots of headgear. But it's worth it. It's worth it. So perhaps I ought to finish this little piece and then close it off and then go and do another video, which I had planned to do, which was Quranic verses. But let me just finish my thought here on this one. My thought here on this one is the children are suffering massive traumatic child abuse. I'm speaking about America. I think it's probably the same in most of the developed world, where they are not moving. They're not having any socialization. They're not having any skills of how to, repartee, speak back and forth to their peers. They're not living, really, to say living. You could almost... This is stretching it, but I'm doing it deliberately to make people wake up. You could compare these children to elderly in a nursing home, where they are literally either in their bed, the children are lying on the sofa, or they're in a wheelchair. The children are sitting somewhere, wherever they are in the house. They're usually alone, playing video games. Occasionally they can use the bathroom by themselves, that's a bonus if you're in a nursing home. However, this is not how childhood should be. Childhood should be, I believe, I'm sorry ladies, professional ladies, I know you don't like me anyway in general, but I believe that the moms ought to be home and not working outside the home unless there is a dire necessity. However, women want all of these things, and they honestly would consider their own private car a necessity, preferably a newer model. Newer clothes every season, let alone every week, month, how often they go and shop. That would be another necessity. Perhaps fancy foods. Let's make sure that we have the fish, fresh fish, and the shrimp, and we have desserts, and we can either bake our own. And to bake a simple cake now is, unless you buy the box, and even that doesn't taste good, but just buying the ingredients now. Let's say for a cheesecake, you will definitely have to spend at least $20, $25. So that's what they would consider the excuse, that if you want to have, let's say, a balanced meal or a balanced, I don't know how to even put it. You don't want to accept the fact that perhaps you can't afford anything. So that's why women like to go out to work. Not only can they get all of the non-essentials, which they believe are essential, but they get what's called camaraderie in the workplace. Is it fun to have friends? Yeah. Can you have friends as a mom? Well, yeah, but they would always be including taking the kids to a park or to a pool or walking the little ones in their carriage. What's wrong with that? I did that. I was very happy. I loved being a stay-at-home mom, and of course I only had 2 children, one every 21 years. So as soon as I was finished with the first one, and when he was out and done college, I got the second one, but that was a different husband. Getting back to the subject at hand, which are the children. They're exposed to horror on their little handheld devices. And whether they ask for it or not, it's pushed upon them by these algorithms, and the parents are too busy to even have a clue of what they're looking at. So you've got this innocent being, this pure, beautiful, innocent, all babies are beautiful, and you're thrilled. And what do you proceed to do? Let him become twisted by the garbage that you are not watching out for. Because part of your job as a mom, and I prefer the stay-at-home type because men are supposed to be out working and giving you the money and providing for you. I love that because that's the age-old way it was done. But now the young women are different. And they're getting worse every year. So this is a heads up. How many have I done? Good. It's only 10 minutes. Because often I feel that if I make things shorter, more people will be apt to listen to what I'm saying. It might be better for them, more interesting, and also better for me because the more you hear what I'm saying, the more thawab, it means the reward I get from Allah, if it's something that He loves. And I really do believe that at my advanced age, 3 more weeks, I'll be 78. I believe that I can't do anything better than to try to convince this generation that it's better to just do what Allah loves. It'll make you more happy, it'll make you healthier, and then you can be away from all of the satanic influences that are out there. I'm not saying stay home. Oh, I would never say stay home, but pay close attention to your homes. Make sure that they're clean, tidy. Make sure that the meals are well prepared, not boxes, not instant push the microwave button, heated up in the freezer. Yeah, maybe once a week. But you know what? There's nothing better than a good home-cooked meal. Like, ponder now. This is what I always, I like to give comparisons in reality. How much do people pay for takeaway just so they don't have to do their job in the house? How much do people bother their husbands? Take me out to eat, take me out to eat, take me out to eat. That's another classic. Husband comes home totally exhausted. And these women are, I can't explain the reason that they would think that their Allah-given place, which is, the old-fashioned, my mom, a woman's place is in the home. Yeah, kinda like, but not all the time. And that's the problem when you become a Muslim. Huge culture clashes because over there, whether it be Egypt or any other Arab country, they really don't want the wife out of the house. And this is absolutely ridiculous. What is she, in a prison? She can't breathe the fresh air? She can't go take a walk? No, you can't take a walk because there's no proof of this. But the shuyukh will say, unless she has a destination, that she goes out to fulfill her duties, like shopping, and then comes right home. That's why you can't go out for a walk there unless you are carrying bags, like bundles, that you've been out on a mission for your home, and so you bought either some fruits, vegetables, or whatever. So there's your proof right there. You're carrying some bundles. It's all dictated. The men, they like to feel that they know the religion better than women, and they don't. The thing is, women aren't going after the truth, and therefore they're not respected because they're not studying. The men are too busy, rightly so. They're exhausted, working, and they just listen to whatever is the closest, handiest scholar in their area. And if women don't start, I believe, to study deeply before she gets married, please, so that she can understand what Allah wants from her. I hate this word, rights. Even in America, this is bothering me now because we have a hadith wherein you give Allah His rights, and then He gives you your rights. No human being is responsible for your getting your rights. You give Allah His rights. How do you know what they are? You have to study. You have to study Quran and Hadith. Or you could just do what many have done before you and take an arranged marriage, perhaps your family, your relatives, which is more so over there, not in America. Or you could just become attracted to some, I don't know how to say it, so many women get married due to their presumption that if he looks good and he talks the talk, there's nothing else that really enters into that life-threatening decision that, oh, he would be a good marriage prospect. I don't know. I could make 20 videos on this and give each subject or each facet its warnings. Warning. Those that look too good and talk too slickly, or we have hadith on this as well. Sometimes I think the arranged marriages, half of it was good, because people who knew you well, knew your personality, your type, your problems, your weak points, they could join in to the discussion about what this man might mean. Would he be perhaps someone trained in such a way that you couldn't get along with? Yeah. I don't know. At my age now, it's your world. You're going to have to determine which way you want to go. But for me, العلم قبل العمل. So the knowledge comes before the deeds. And if the most important deed you're going to do is to get married, and this goes for both of you, the husband and the wife, you should get some ilm first. And see what the Quran and Sunnah say about your prospective spouse. Do not date. I told you this before. Once you start dating, secretly or not, you're going to lose your edge. And after a few months, the thrill is gone. I'm telling you, take it for someone who's been married 3 times. You should get married as soon as you feel it's doable. Does that mean you have to get married right away? Yeah, why not? Why not? Here I go. I mean, I don't want to say the wrong thing to you all because you're young and impressionable, and I don't want to be responsible for leading you astray. So I'm going to go now. At least I did my duty, though. I said, no, you're not just going to go for a walk. You have to do something productive in this walk. Then Allah let the dog come. Well, maybe that was a little sign. Okay, I think everything are signs anyway. So I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.